Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now, as part of her duties, Jo Farrell, who is the Chief Commissioner of Police Scotland, has to do regular reports to the Scottish Police Authority. And the the SPA then go over this, question her on it, sort of get things cleared up and clarified. And it's basically a kind of ongoing keeping a tab on things, making sure things are okay, making sure nothing is going wrong or nothing is missed. And that's fine. It's all part and parcel of being the Chief Constable. It is a bit like marking your own homework, though, because obviously the Scottish Police Authority comes under the SNP government, and we know Jo Farrell is owned by the SNP government. What they say goes. There's no autonomy there. A week into the job, she stole from the taxpayer. She never repaid it. She's apologised, but apologies are fine until she actually repays that money, of course. She is someone who's stolen resources. There's no two ways about it. And so she has this duty to report, but she will report exactly what she's told to report by her paymasters. Now, there has been calls for her to explain fully the state of Operation Branchform. And so in the latest report, we look eagerly to see what's going on regarding that investigation. And lo and behold, magically, weirdly, there's not a single mention of Operation Branchform, the police's biggest, most expensive current investigation, is nowhere to be seen. Odd, to say the least. Let's take a look to see what's going on. So, the Chief Constable ignores Operation Branchform in key report, despite calls for an update amid rising costs. Now, lots of people are asking for an update. Lots of people want to know what the state of play is, how much it's cost, how much time has been spent on it. Is it likely to conclude soon? What are they still doing? Who have they investigated? Everything. They want to know. They should know. The taxpayers have a right to know for two reasons. One, they're paying for it. And two, it was money stolen by a corrupt government from people within the country, members of the public who'd voluntarily contributed to a fund to do a particular job, which has now disappeared. Fraud has definitely happened because they cannot point to that 600,000 that they said would be ring fenced. So fraud is for real. The problem is who done it, and that is why they must report. But Jo Farrell has been urged to provide the public with an update on the probe into the SNP finances 3 years after the initial complaint, and we covered the guy the other day. The Chief Constable of Scotland has not given an update on Operation Branchform in a key report. Despite the rising costs into the probe, Jo Farrell will report to Scottish Police Authority Board on Thursday, March the 21st. So tomorrow is when she is to stand there. And we want to hope that someone on the board has the nous and the balls to ask her about Branchform and why it isn't in the current report, given that it is currently the biggest, most expensive investigation that they have on the books anywhere in Scotland. It seems weird, to say the least, and suspect, I think, at the worst, to say why it isn't there. And she'll try and defend it. I hope she's got good lawyers, because I think she's going to need them. Because this is really a matter of, should we say, incompetence. If you were going to be favourable and say she's incompetently failed to remember and put that down, or it's corruption and she's corruptly been told not to include it. Takes your money, pays your choice. It's the other way around, isn't it? Pays your money, takes your choice. I had a moment. Anyway, we reported at the weekend that the man whose complaint in March 2021 triggered Branchform, and he says the SPA meeting was the perfect opportunity for the public to be informed about the state of play. Sean Clarkin raised the concerns over alleged fraud relating to 600,000 raised to fight a second independence referendum, which never has happened. He claims the money should have been ring-fenced, as was claimed it would be, but instead it's been spent elsewhere. Camper vans, electric Jaguars, very expensive £500 pens, you name it. It's all gone a fritter. Police eventually launched an official investigation in July that year, after constant pressure, it may be said. Chief Constable Farrell's report to the board was published on Tuesday, March the 19th. However, it makes no mention of branch form. Other issues raised will be tasers, policing in a digital world, enhanced CCTV in Aberdeen, and updates on staffing levels and the Police Scotland budget. The convictions for the murder of Brian Maley, drug recoveries, county lines, Operation Oversight, Project Shield, equestrian education, road safety and corruption are also included in the report. Equestrian education? They're teaching horses? Well, why not? There's a lot of horses' arses running the police service in Scotland. There's Clarkin, the man who started it all, SNP supporter. This is one of those things the SNP can't get over. They're going, how can an SNP supporter do this to the party? Well, it's because you stole from him, lied to him, fraudulently took money that was meant for one thing and spent it on yourselves. That's why. He's not an idiot. Well, I mean, he is. He votes SNP. But he's not a complete idiot. Anyway, he says there is no mention of the murder investigation into the death of Brian Lowe in Aberfleddy, or on the conviction of Ian Packer for the murder of Emma Caldwell. And the Chief Constable says, I want to reaffirm policing's apology to the family of Emma Caldwell following the conviction of Ian Packer at the end of February. Emma Caldwell, her family and many other victims were let down by policing in 2005. She did say that. That's fine. But without branch form being there, it's kind of an empty box, isn't it? It's like, let's do this and this and this, and let's put all these things in, including teaching horses, in order to overwhelm people and so that they don't notice that branch form isn't there. But of course, for most people, that's the first reason they're picking it up. Oh, let's see what she says about branch form. And then they'll be stunned by the fact that it is nowhere to be seen. Why? This is a very important question. Why no mention? Has she been told not to mention it? Has she been informed that it must never be spoken? The crime that has no name? It recently emerged the cost of Operation Branchform had increased to 1.3 million. Nicola Sturgeon, her husband and former SNP Chief Executive Peter Murrell and former Nat Treasurer Colin Beattie have all been arrested. Unfortunately, though, for the rest of us, they were all subsequently released. Not something we wanted to see. It would have been nice to keep them in custody. Speaking at the weekend, Mr Clarkin said the cost is now standing at £1.3 million. And for transparency and full accountability, there has to be a complete and comprehensive explanation of where Operation Branchform is and where it will go, and what the timelines are for making decisions. They're trying to run the clock out. They're trying to make it so expensive. They go, well, look, it's just not worth it in the end. We spent millions, blah, blah, blah. In other words, they're trying to do that in order that the people who stole the £600,000 get away with it and never have to see the inside of a jail cell. This cannot, must not be allowed to happen. This investigation must run all the way on, must pick someone to jail, and that someone has got to be someone at the top now, not some low-level staffer, no patsy, no fall guy. It's got to be one of the big ones, preferably about half a dozen of all the big ones. They're all involved. Anyway, I'll stop there. We'll round off and we'll come up. To be honest, and we all know it, it's not a surprise, is it? Farrell, owned by the SNP, will never do anything outside of the instruction given to her by the SNP. She will have been told, do not mention this, do not highlight this, do not bring this to public attention any more than it needs to. But it is the very silence on this subject which is raising even more questions. It is the Streisand effect in action. And it isn't going to go away anytime soon. However, I am. It's last end of the video. Let's stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, and I will speak to you later. Bye.